Welcome once again. We're back again. We're back. Hello.
Hello. What's my name?
Be True Paris.
Yes. Rudie Rich. Happy Friday.
It's not that happy, you know. I'm going to address not the cat in the room, the elephant in the room straight away. Mm-hmm. You know what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, go on.
I'm going straight into it. So last week, the cameraman did not tell me that whilst filming, and I never saw it until the edit, that one of your locks was like stuck up in the ear like steel plugs.
Locks?
You know, your hair, your locks, you know, locks, braids, whatever you call it. Not braids, but you know, we call them locks. Your
my mane.
Your mane, whatever you want to call it, the word for it. Your
Let's
locks.
just go with hair.
Yeah, your hair, your locks. One lock of your hair was like
wild.
It looked like it was like working for Elon Musk or NASA or something.
It was,
you know
just up in the air, just there. Me talking, being vulnerable about my fears.
I was just about to say that, you know, vulnerability. You know, doing this podcast, we are being very vulnerable, letting people, you know, people online, but it could be, you know,
even though I think there's more people that probably do have the same or similar fear. But either way, now I've created a new fear of being on camera with my hair sticking up.
Is it good today?
I don't know. Tell me.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's down.
I'm not even going to lie, yeah.
The hair needs doing anyway.
I didn't notice at all. I did not notice.
So it's true then. When women get their hair done, good, bad, whichever way, men just don't notice.
I think it's that angle where I was sitting at. You know, I honestly, I can't believe I sat in front of you for two hours straight and I did not notice. You know what I mean? It couldn't look that bad. I thought it might have been part of the style. You know what I mean? You're just popping style. You know what I mean?
Just trying out a new thing. You know, just seeing how the trend.
Next week you might go into the town centre and you see people got the one locks up in the ear coming up to you and say, I saw you with your hair and bust a new trend and that. So you're trend setting. You know what I mean? So don't feel no way.
No, it's just one of those things that when you're trying to watch back and you just keep gliding up to the loose hair and you're just thinking, wasn't she patting that down?
You know what? It was when it came to the editing process, and I looked and I saw, and I was like, you know what? I didn't even bother telling you at that stage because that's when I saw it, and I thought it's too late. We can't re-record the episode.
Did you see how I full-named you,
deadline and everything. So I just thought, go with it. And when you see it, you could cuss me, and then I could blame the cameraman, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened.
Full named you when I saw it. Did you see? When I brought it to your attention? Yeah.
All right. Noted. I take...
Sorry, I forgive you. You've made it up.
Yeah. I take accountability for not noticing. But I thought, you know, before you come on camera, you probably sit in front of a mirror for like half an hour, 20 minutes.
No.
5 minutes. 10 minutes.
No.
2 minutes.
No. Oh. Especially when people are looking at me. Maybe if no one was looking at me.
There I go again with my laugh on the camera. All right, let's start. I mean, what's on the agenda today?
So I've come across a very interesting book.
Okay.
Which I don't know. The title alone just kind of sparked my interest. How to vegan.
Okay.
Now I there are some very good pages. I would say some very good clips inside the book. I haven't read it front to back, but it's good. It's a good little book on. It's like a spoof, like you know when you try and make fun of something. So it's actually giving you real information, but it's doing it in a jokey way, like how I suppose a non-vegan would take the mick out of a vegan. They address that in the book. So
it's not heavy.
It's not heavy, but It's something that I suppose it just interests me at the moment because obviously with veganism, if I'm saying that right, there's a lot of health benefits becoming vegan. And I mean, don't quote me. I've watched a few programs on Netflix. There's one called I can't think of what it's called now. It's literally gone out of my head. Game Changer or something like that.
No.
Game Changer on Netflix, and it's just basically how the body responds to vegans and non-vegans, how your body, you know, the difference and stuff like that. And there's quite a few celebrities that are vegan that was on there talking about their experiences. Bodybuilders, I think it's like The Strongest Man was on there. He's vegan.
Okay.
And it was just outlining a lot of the benefits of becoming vegan, how it actually builds muscle mass. Because I think that's the old stigma, especially if you were born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, or you're around those kind of eras. You know, vegetarians, you didn't really hear about vegans back then. It was just literally vegetarians. And they would always be classed as like sickly or weak because, you know, they weren't, you know, getting the meat as such. And so people would kind of give that like they're lacking something, where actual real facts is you probably gaining a lot more minerals, vitamins, and nutrients for your body by being vegan than you do being non-vegan. And it's true that we weren't actually designed to eat meat.
Well, I mean, what you did say about bodybuilders and that, I do hear in the gym and stuff like people having protein conversations, saying to someone, "So where do you get your protein from?" That is sort of the first question what people ask people when they say they don't eat meat and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, that's like a sort of, I don't know if it's a sort of like a attack question. Where do you get your protein? And I've heard people respond, well, I get my protein from this, and
you get more protein. Like, people assume that by animal products you're consuming a lot of protein, like your chicken and stuff like that, but actually you get more protein in your lentils, your pulses, that sort of thing, than you do from animal byproduct.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think, I believe that it's the percentage, how much grams of protein is per what you're eating. For example, I've seen things where it says like you might eat a steak and it might be, for example, 25 grams worth of protein per how much grams. Yeah. And then, for example, you get the same 100 grams worth of a certain veg, a very rich in protein veg, and it contains more protein per 100 grams than the meat, for example. Yeah. And but like some, so yeah, I kind of get it.
Yeah, and I not to think, but I'm presuming that a lot of the health benefits that come from being vegan and the food that's being eaten and stuff like that is they say that they feel it a lot more, isn't it? Like a lot more awake, a lot more alert. You have a lot more energy to burn. Your sex life increases. Your mojo, as they would say it, apparently that all increases by being vegan. And I suppose, it's very, very fascinating. So I don't know if anyone's kind of got this book or read this book, but as a quick pick me up, I just kind of thought it would be interesting to kind of have a look at it. And there are some interesting facts.
Well, what have you seen? Have you read through this book yet? Or let's pick a random page and see.
Oh, here we go. Look at this. Living longer.
All right.
Vegans live on average 6 to 9 years longer than a meat eater. With the reduction in consumption of saturated fats and cholesterol, vegans tend to have a reduced risk of heart disease and cancer. The increased lifespan may be due to the health benefits of plant-based diet, but there is also evidence that vegans are the type of people that make good life choices. If you're reading this with a belly full of donuts and the remnants of a hangover, then you're probably the exception to the rule. So it's good. It's one of those ones where it takes a little bit of a mick, but it gives you facts as well. So yeah, I could very much believe that vegans probably live on average 6 to 9 years longer than a meat eater.
I mean, I guess they're generally speaking, obviously, you know.
I mean, they're generally speaking, but I don't know if you've ever seen on YouTube, there is a woman where I would say she's vegan, but she called herself a raw vegan. So she only ever ate raw fruits and vegetables. She didn't cook anything. She juiced or she ate them in its natural habitat. and I think that she was like 70 something, and the girl looked 30. And then her partner, her husband, was a meat eater all his life, and he had a wealth of health issues, diabetes, this, that, heart failure. He was hooked up to like a mic, not a mic, you know, those things that go up your nose and helps you breathe. He was hooked up to some sort of ventilator type thing. He had all these health issues, but the wife, not only did she look good, she had no health issues. She hadn't had a headache in years. So it's you know, it's something that I think nowadays more people need to kind of look into. One thing I would kind of question is with vegans, and this is a genuine question, this isn't a dig or anything else like that. Would you say as a vegan, like anyone that isn't out vegan, this is a question to all you vegans, do you cook more fresh food, or is it a case of your processed food intake has gone up? Because I think nowadays where kind of becoming vegan has become more popular, it's gained popularity over the time, the shops have kind of caught on to that, and so you're finding a lot of product now that's Beyond Burger or Beyond Meat Burger or something. Is, you know, Aldi have their own range of plant-based, meat-free, and it's still processed food.
Exactly.
I think I've always kind of looked at vegetarians and vegans is the whole point of that, not only for the health of the animal, but it's obviously for the health of yourself. And
because like you said, like with the processed stuff, it's the same saturated fats. Well, there's a lot of, you know,
it's chemicals, isn't it? It's chemicals to preserve it, to make it look more like what the alternative is, type thing. So in those kind of senses, if you've gone vegan, but yet you eat a lot of processed food, will you still gain the health benefits that being vegan is supposed to give you?
I wouldn't say you would. I'd probably say you probably get some sort of benefits from it. But if you're eating a lot of processed stuff, which is full of oil, full of salt and sugar, because they're putting all this stuff in it to flavor it up, just like if you're eating a normal burger or something like that.
Well, yeah,
it's laden with salt and sugar. You know, most food what we do, they put all these enhancers and stuff in it just to give it that taste. So it's the same with the vegan stuff. I have a rule where and I think a lot of people have the same rule. When you're buying something in the shop, I'm one of the people who go in the shop and I read ingredients. Because I don't drink milk. I'm dairy free, so I kind of look at labels because I want to make sure there's nothing in it. Even though things will say dairy free nowadays, not everything does. Yeah,
especially when they're made in factories or places where those sort of ingredients are still being used and stuff.
They do say on it like made in a factory, what processes milk and blah blah blah. It's at my discretion if I want to. You know, they're just warning you that, I mean, there's milk in it, but it's basically they're saying the production line what made the oat milk. You know, 2 hours ago it made cow's milk. You know, but we wash the machine out, but there might be a trace, a splash of it. You know what I mean? So I do read the ingredients like that, because just for the fact that I don't drink milk. With what you were saying about, you know, vegan food and that, I think if someone is vegan, probably, how can I put it? If you're eating a lot of burgers and stuff, you're just eating junk. So whether you're vegan or whether you're a meat eater, you're eating junk food. That's the way I look at it. Like back in the days, like in the Caribbean, we have a thing called ital. You know, it's idle food, and what, you know, brought to light by the Rastas and that, they eat idle food, and idle food means vegetable ground provisions, veg what come from the ground, and they don't even eat salt, some of them. That's idle. So that's not vegan. That is the original vegan is idle. Yeah,
very much so.
Which has been now hijacked and being renamed as vegan. But whilst we're on that topic, you know, a lot of people, and this is the honest truth, a lot of people don't know the difference between vegan and vegetarian.
How?
You could go in restaurants and people working in restaurants don't know the difference between vegan and vegetarian. And that's a real...
Okay, that That is shocking, but then I suppose it's one of those ones where who actually teaches you? So my understanding is just from what I've picked up from people around me. So, with a vegetarian, whether it be because first thing I always ask when someone is a vegetarian is it because you don't like meat or you don't have the belief in eating meat? Because obviously the two things are different. I've met people that don't like the texture of meat, they don't like the taste of it, so therefore they don't eat it. And then there's some that, if the family's vegetarians, then they've never experienced meats and then they've just obviously continued that for themselves. And there's some that are obviously don't like the harm that comes to animal. You've got to kill an animal in order to eat it. So therefore they don't do it.
I mean, the real term of veganism is like, you don't eat meat, you love animals, you won't wear a leather belt, you won't wear a leather jacket, you won't have a leather sofa. Veganism is that. So when people say, oh, that person's vegan, that's not actually the correct term of veganism. So now, you're better off saying to someone, I'm idle or I'm plant-based. I eat plant-based food, or I don't really eat much meat nowadays or any meat.
Yeah,
but don't use the word vegan, because to a real vegan,
you would have no association with any form of animal and any that's my understanding of a vegan.
I mean, a real vegan doesn't even eat honey.
Yeah. So my understanding of a vegan is someone who does not interact with, other than being cute and lovely to them, animals. They do not use animal byproducts. So nothing that involved an animal in order to make this product will they touch.
I mean, exactly that.
If it's any kind of animal byproduct, even down to like sweets, certain sweets, obviously if it's got gelatin and stuff like that.
A lot of sweets, most of the Haribo.
Majority of sweets have.
I mean, nowadays, I think those kind of sweets, they start making them like vegan, the Haribo.
But is it vegan? Because I know in terms of certain, because my first instance of kind of the sweet gelatin thing is through Muslims, because obviously a lot of sweets or a lot of gelatin is made using pork
and beef.
Is it pork and beef?
Either
or. So my understanding of gelatin was that it was made from pork. So a lot of Muslims, when they would eat sweets, it would have to be gelatin. Was it gelatin free, or it's like free of pork gelatin? But then if there was any other kind of animal byproduct in there, would they or could they still eat that? Whereas a vegan, if there was, even if it was, I don't know, a lamb gelatin, they still wouldn't touch it, type thing.
No.
Whereas I think, the Muslim community might still touch that. It's just so it's not made from pork. So the understanding of the veganism is, there is no interaction with animals whatsoever. Whereas a vegetarian is they just don't eat meat, but they will wear the leather. They will happily,
milk,
cheese, all of that sort of thing.
That's right.
Cheese heavily because that's their calcium.
Like I said earlier on about like restaurants and that. A lot of restaurants. I mean, nowadays you should, and things are a lot more clear in most places which are a bit more professional. They would have on your menu V for vegetarian, and they would have VE or VG,
something like that.
For vegan, but a lot of places don't. They still have V, so you have to, if you are vegetarian or vegan, you have to guess. So you have to ask questions.
It'll be in the tiniest writing at the bottom of the menu.
You might not even see it. You might not see it. You might not even see it.
You've got to look for that.
I don't think a lot of places do, and it's funny, like with this topic, because if you're a restaurant owner or you're selling food, there's been cases where people have severe allergies. Nut allergies. They have milk allergies. Some people have all kind of allergies, wheat allergies. And you could say vegetarian or vegan, and people say to you, oh, gluten-free. Completely different. Like, people don't know. And I'm talking about people in the food industry who's selling food, who's working with food. They don't know, and they will put things in the food thinking it's fine, and they do not declare it as well. They wouldn't declare it on the menu. So these things you have to...
It's because if you think about it, someone that's had a restaurant for 20 years, and
exactly,
we wouldn't look at 20 years as being that long or that kind of length of time. But if someone has had a restaurant for 20 years, they've had no issues, they've fed thousands of people per week. They've had kids, mums, granny, granddads,
You eat something
everyone
back then
coming
and you're
in.
Sick. You're just sick, innit?
But not even that. The restaurant wouldn't even know.
No.
Unless it was severe food poisoning type thing, and maybe you might have rung them to be like, if not, really, you kind of put it down to a couple of days off work and whatever. But if you had a restaurant and you've had that restaurant for 20 years, you've got to think, going from 20 years would put us 2005.
Yeah.
Right? So 2005, you did,
Veganism
but
really
vegan wasn't a thing like
there,
that. And if you were a vegan, you didn't go out to eat because there was no restaurants that really kind of catered to your diet.
No.
And again,
Salad.
with
You'd have
vegetarians, salads,
salad.
even vegetarians, there wasn't much to cater
No,
for
there wasn't.
you and your dietary requirements.
I mean, it's
Then
always
you
been
think about
food
it
there,
now,
but yeah.
though, there's always been a vegan, there's always been a vegetarian. They've been around for years. There's always going to be a celiac. There's always been those individuals around, but the world did not cater for you.
That's right.
Now, take the last 2 years. Vegan has exploded. Now you've got restaurants.
I'd say the last sort of 6-7 years. I'd say at least the last 5-6. Yeah, I'd say at least the last 7 years. It's been a thing where it's been in your face.
It's like, yeah.
You know,
but the thing is now is like, because I would say in the last 2 years I've had to become. I'm not a celiac, but I've had to become gluten free because the reactions and
celiac,
stuff.
Is that like celery? Celiac.
Celiac is when you're allergic to kind of like gluten.
Yes, that's right.
And because gluten is in everything, like it is in everything. Whereas mine is more wheat-based gluten. I have an intolerance now to wheat-based gluten, so I can't have bread, pasta, that sort of thing. Like it kills me. I miss pasta so much. But a celiac is like, they cannot have anything that contains gluten in any shape or form, because everything, even a chip, contains gluten. I didn't know that, but it's weird. But yeah, it's found in everything. So even in the last 2 years, that's my body changing that has now made it so that I can't eat it. Because before that, I enjoyed a good 38 years of eating everything and anything. I used to even laugh because my dad, he developed something where that he had to take like a certain tablet or something before he eats food so that he didn't have reactions. My sister has had symptoms with food, like, so it's something that obviously as we're changing and we're getting older, or worse, they're changing the food, they're changing the ingredients and what is, or they're putting more chemicals in our food that is obviously causing us to have so much irritant. But going back to that restaurant owner, 2005, he didn't have to worry about anything like that. In 2025, they're suing you. They can sue you. You know.
I mean, America's been suing people for years, but like you said,
there's a blame, there's a claim.
But like you said, I think nowadays, I mean, on topic, but off topic, but brands like back in the days, we never had all these margarines. We had butter. Yeah, we never. You go and buy chips, a bag of chips from the. Back then, what was it, B-Jams or Iceland's or whatever it was? It'd be frozen potatoes chopped up. Now you could buy a pack of chips and it's not potatoes. Potatoes like 70%. Then it's got wheat. It's got this. It's got that. It's flavored with this. It's that. So it's 50% potatoes. Like back in the days, things were potatoes were potatoes.
Yep.
Butter was butter. Butter come from the cow. Cheese is cheese. Yep. Now everything's got E this, E that, dissect this, that, D, what, this, all kind of. And my rule of thumb is, if you cannot pronounce what you're eating, you shouldn't be eating it. If there's a list of 40 ingredients and you don't know 38 of them, you shouldn't be eating it.
Yeah. I think nowadays, and it's sad because with us, we did grow up with fresh food.
Yeah.
Fresh food was a thing. And I think what really kind of brought it home for me is our lack of knowledge about food is when, and this is going off topic on topic, is when Jamie Oliver did that whole school food thing.
Did he turn vegan? He did, didn't he?
I don't know whether he turned vegan, but what shocked me is when he showed certain vegetables to school children, they didn't know what it was. Why? And considering that they should know fresh vegetables and fresh fruit because that's what you should be eating. But it kind of highlighted that the way we kind of grew up, I suppose, there was a lot more fresh food and produce around. It was probably at a more affordable rate than what it is now, because I've tried to cut down on kind of the carbs, the protein, the carbs, the processed foods. Mm-hmm. So I'm now buying a lot more fruit and veg, and I would 100% say my food bill's gone up since doing it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think you can buy fresh. I mean, a lot of people say I couldn't go vegetarian or they couldn't go vegan because, like you said, the price of the food. But I believe you know, if we wanted to be vegan, I believe we could do it for the same price as what we're spending now, if not less. No, without more, because think about it. The only thing you're buying what's going to be premium is if you're buying these fancy fad foods. If you're going to the market, you're getting your food fresh. You know, all right, you go to Tesco's and you pick up 5 apples, and they tell you it's £2.50 or £2. You could go to the market and you could pick up 5 apples for 80p or £1. Yeah, it's where you're shopping. Yeah, and there's availability shopping everywhere. And in most towns, there's availability. Unless you live out in the suburbs, in the sticks, and you have to go to these garden centres and they're selling you organic oranges at £1.50 each.
But that's what's happening, though. I mean, they say you can go market.
Are they organic?
But when you deep it, right? Take Reading, for example. Okay, so I mainly shop in Aldi.
Yeah.
But because I rarely go town. But when I do go town, I will try and buy, you know, the fruits, the vegetables and stuff like that. And I hate if this is going to make me sound snobby, and I really do hate that. When I've gone to the market and I've gone to buy fruit and veg and stuff like that, it's one of those ones where, yes, I'll probably get more for my money. However, the quality of what I'm looking at, it doesn't arouse me, type thing. I'm having to pick through a lot of the dead fruit or the crushed ones or stuff like that. Like, if you've got time on your hand and you're that person, by all means. Yeah. But if you're like me and it's a quick run through while you go off to do another 14 other things that you need to do for that day, I don't have time to sit here and specifically select. Whereas the convenience, and it's unfortunate that it's set up like this, the convenience of going into Aldi where I could just quickly check 1 or 2 packets of grapes or whatever else and see, because you've already had to do the quality control for me to a certain extent.
Yeah, true.
Now I'm just looking at what's the best through that quality control that you've already done. Whereas the market, and plus our market, when we used to have 4, 5, 6 different fruit and veg stores, and you could go through all of them and, you know, who was the best one and had the good quality stuff. Now we're down to like one main market, man, and then I've noticed that there's a couple that pop up like round by old Primark and
same people.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but where's the Smelly Alley man? There used to be a man down Smelly Alley that used to sell his cherries used to be amazing. Where's he gone?
Yeah, I mean, even with those shops and the market people, you know, when you get the baskets, they say any basket for £1.50 or £2, those are the stuff what they've had for the week, and they're on the last days. Yeah. So you might see 8 apples in there, and 4 of them, they're smart how they do it. 4 of them are good, but they put mixing for what's on their way out.
6 bad ones with 4 at the top that looks good.
Yeah, but you're paying for you're paying for what you're getting what you pay for. If you're eating them straight away or something like that, you're going to use them and you're going to juice them, or you know, even a lot of restaurants would use these because they're cooking them the same day.
They're cooking them the same day, and
so they're saving money.
Yeah, and in that sense, by all means, if you've got the time and you're going to consume, you know, a lot of that product within 1 or 2 days, it will work out phenomenally for you. And if you can keep going back every 1 or 2 days just to keep picking up your bits and pieces of what you need, that will work financially. But unfortunately, how today's lifing is for all adults, like, you got to think even nowadays, there's not even really an at-home parent unless you have that very wealthy family. Both parents are now out working. So that there kind of indicates the busy lifestyles that everyone has. So when you don't have that time to kind of carefully hand select and pick your fruit and veg and stuff, unfortunately, then the supermarkets know that.
Yeah, definitely.
And then
That's
they'll
it.
be like, slap £2 on those apples, where we know you can go to the market and get them same 6 apples for £1. But are you really going to do that? Do you have the time
exactly
to do that?
what you said, how it's set up, because like, yeah, I mean, the markets, you can get the good stuff in the markets, but they're going to cost you more. So when you do the balance, you could just go to like, the supermarket. And then, like you said, if you go somewhere like Tesco's and you pick up Tesco's Finest, the fruit are going to taste a lot sweeter than their standard stuff.
Yep.
You go to Waitrose, some people say, oh, I only get my veg from Waitrose. I only get my veg from Sainsbury's. Of course, they like it. And, some supermarkets, you do get really good quality.
Really good.
But that's what they put in their Finest range and stuff like that. But that should be
and that's the cost.
That should be
that's
the standard
price.
quality. That's how fruit is supposed to taste. And then the ones what taste a bit sour and they're not as nice.
Because now the stores do, again, where they've monetarized it, because now you've got the Pink Lady apples at £3.25. And now
apples.
they do something called like the wonky fruit and veg, or not so good, or not perfect, a bit out of shape, and they try and sell that for a little bit less. And it is compared to the Pink Lady kind of price of the apples, but then it's a case of, well, how long are you going to last?
I think with the
like you said, if you're going to consume it that day, you're going to you're going to financially be better off for it.
I think with the wonky stuff, like the English market, and I think even the American market, they got the fruits. They grow they're modified so that the banana is perfectly got that bend. They got the apple has to be perfectly round. They don't always grow like this in nature. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe they did, but
No, because have you seen what a real banana looks like? A Burra banana.
Burra bananas, they're small. They're not like these little things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're tight, but they're real. If that makes sense. That's the real banana.
Yeah. They got the seeds in it. I remember eating bananas when I was a kid and they had seeds in it, the black seeds in it.
God, yeah. Now, I can't eat bananas now. They're just too furry unless they're like green. I like green bananas.
Yeah.
And when they're just like, to me, they're still kind of sweet at that stage and stuff. But
some people got banana phobia, Some people can't even touch bananas.
I feel them. See?
Yeah.
Nowadays,
I've known people who can't touch a banana. They would pick up a banana like that and but that's it. They don't do bananas. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could say out of the fruit world, bananas, the bottom of the list for me. And everything, when you want a smoothie, when you want a fruit salad, when you want always the banana. Like, what is it with the banana?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, yeah. But sorry, just going back to kind of vegan, it is very, I would like to do more conversations on it, because I think there is so much more to uncover. Not the fad of being a vegan. And I will say that there's probably a lot of people out there that have jumped on a bandwagon. They've made it a fad. And, those will be the ones that will kind of dip in and out.
Yeah, a lot of people do. They dip in, for the health benefits, but then, jump back in because, a lot of people are on it, but then it's attachment to, what you're used to and stuff like that. You might do it, you feel great, but then it's that temptation and go back, and then next week you're back on the sausages and the bacon and stuff like that. So that a lot of people do that, but it's more of a willpower thing to me.
And that's where I think if you cook fresh with vegan, that you're more likely stick to it, because then from what you see on the internet and stuff like that, like, jackfruit, in terms of makes a fantastic curry. You wouldn't miss eating a meat curry if you had a jackfruit and chickpea curry.
I mean, I've tried.
It's lovely.
I've made ackee and jackfruit instead of saltfish. Yeah, because to me, ackee is the way the flavor is in the ackee and saltfish dish. Because saltfish is just salted cod, yeah, or salted. Tastes good. What's the other one? Hafe, I think they use. That other fish. What they use. So, ackee and jackfruit. When you cook that, it's exactly the same. You add a little bit of salt to it. Now, I know people say, well, you're just replicating fish. Why don't you just eat the fish and stuff like that? But you know,
Well, if you've got a belief and you want to stick to that belief, it's all quick for someone. And I never understand when people have an issue with vegans. Like, why?
well, yeah, I think that you get a lot of that as well. Yeah,
You do.
You do get a lot of that.
You do. A lot of stigma and all that stuff. And I ain't cooking for a vegan. Or like, I would struggle.
It's probably the
cook for a
same. It's,
vegan,
if you ask me, it's probably the same as if you're cooking something, you're cooking the same thing, but you're just missing out the meat. So how can it be?
But it's not even just that. I think when you're cooking for a vegetarian might be easier to cook for than a vegan, because I think especially, I mean, I say especially, but for my way of learning to cook is a lot of butter.
But think about it. Flora themselves, all of Flora, I think, bar one butter is vegan. The whole entire Flora range is vegan, and it has been for the last 2 or 3 years.
Is it? Because they do have a plant-based Flora.
Flora is plant-based across the board. I think they still do maybe one what isn't plant-based. Don't quote me, but I think 90%, if not more, is vegan. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of these big brands have I mean, because like you said earlier on, times has changed in the last 5 years or the last 2 years when things went boom, a lot of plant-based stuff. A lot of the companies are changing their recipes because they know, I mean, for someone like Flora, which is one of the number one margarine butter brands in the country,
is it margarine or is it butter?
They do both. They do margarine, they do butter. But I suppose butter isn't butter unless it comes from the cow.
Yeah, because there's been research, because I think we had a time where we were eating butter, like late, I don't know, early 1950s or something. We were eating butter, and then they did research or something, and thought we were consuming too many bad fats or something through butter. So then they tried to promote margarine, and therefore they then found that actually margarine was really bad, high in cholesterol or something else. So now they're trying to go back to butter. So,
I mean, margarine is one molecule away from plastic.
Ew. So yeah, that's probably why they were trying to get to go people. Me, I'm an Anchor person. I love a piece of Anchor. Yeah. But
I mean, even Lurpak.
Is that vegan?
They're not vegan, but they do a plant-based. I went somewhere and they had Lurpak, and they said, "Oh, it's plant-based," and I ate it on some toast, and it was lovely. I don't think I've never had Lurpak before. I just buy whatever, I buy random
but that's
stuff.
Like a £4 butter,
and it was seriously that I would spend £4 and buy this Lurpak stuff because it was nice. You know what I mean?
Cooking fresh across the board, vegan, non-vegan, is always going to be better for you. But I think if people could adapt, going just back to that kind of stigma that a lot of vegans get for being vegan, I don't fully understand, because as long as you're not shoving your beliefs down someone else's throat, why would you be mad that someone is choosing a better option? And this is where we are, what's the word I'm looking for? Ooh, brainwashed? What's a more professional word to brainwashed?
I wouldn't say program, but I mean a bit.
No, there's another word. There's programmed, brainwashed, or we're conditioned.
Conditioned. Yeah,
let's use that one. I like that one. We're conditioned to believe that, eating meat is...
do you think we are really, or is that down to the individual?
I do. I really do believe we have been... I mean, we're going to go down a huge rabbit hole now.
Open-mindedness, isn't it?
It's open-mindedness, and there's reading. For someone to be upset that someone else has chosen to choose a healthier path, a healthier dietary path for their body.
Is it healthier?
If they're doing it the right way. If you, like I said, if you're a vegan that's just gone from eating meat to eating pure processed food, no.
I mean, you're gonna have. You see, this is a debate because people say, "Is it healthier?" Because Linda McCartney, she was vegetarian and whatever, and she died. But
but did she die from saturated fats and heart disease?
Well, I do not know. I do not know.
Because I think if she died from any of those sort of things, then maybe someone could have an argument. But if she died from any other illness that's not food related or stuff like that, then, that's proving that her veganism isn't anything to do with her dying down to her diet.
I mean, with most people nowadays, if you've got any kind of ailments or any kind of health issues and you go to the doctor, you got something what is really serious, like any kind of terminal illnesses or anything like that, the first thing the doctor says to you after shoving medicines down your throat for the last 10 years is, I think what you could do now is try a plant-based diet.
I mean, are they even suggesting that?
Oh yeah, they do. That is the last resort now.
But then, when they're given that suggestion, does that come arm in arm with a nutritionist?
It's too late. It's usually too late then, isn't it?
I don't ever think it's too late to become vegan.
No, I mean, if you're terminally ill or something like that.
if you're terminally ill.
And if you've just been fed with these medications and all of a sudden you could try plant-based. Why didn't you say that to the patient 6 years ago, 5 years ago?
In school.
Yeah.
When we're doing food technology, those sort of things should be, I mean, like I said, I've not been in school for hours. Please let us know if they do teach plant-based in schools as a food technology class, but that's where we should be educating the kids about the food. Because I think, you remember that food triangle? I was having a conversation with someone and they said even that's changed. Like how they used to say like it was pulses, wheat and this and that, and meat and dilla. Even that's now changed, that food nutrition triangle, because now that they're aware of what pulses and lentils and all of the good stuff for us benefits to the body compared to the animal fats. If you were to put the two up against one another, you will see a huge you will see a huge difference in the benefits from eating that food group. Whereas I think nowadays people just need to be educated and not just go by what media has told you. We all now know that media has an ulterior motive to the information of which they provide us and why they provide it in the way that they do.
Yep.
There's a bigger picture to that. So I think my advice to everyone would be, non-vegan, vegan, look into it. Don't be quick to mimic or knock someone for being vegan if that's the choice that they made. It's not going to, what they eat is not going to affect you.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's common sense. I don't think anyone should be angry with anybody for making a choice what could be benefiting them. It's, I don't think it's harming them in any way.
No. So, I think it will benefit. I don't think it would benefit.
What do you think that's a bit of people's insecurities then about themselves or something about them?
Lack of knowledge, like anything, racism, whatever it is your lack of knowledge. You've been told one thing and you've ran with that, and you're going to go.
Why do you think people are so in that case, angry or upset when somebody else is doing something for themselves? It's weird.
Because I don't know. I think in this day and age, it's like,
I know
they not have enough problems of their own that you need to take on someone else's and make it an issue? That is the only answer I could possibly give for someone feeling offended that someone is a vegan or they choose not to. If you're a vegan that rams it, like how you used to have, and I'm so sorry if this word offends anyone, how you used to have Bible bashers, right? So you don't care that they were, Muslim, Christianity, that you go church 4 days a week. We genuinely did not care that you did that. It's when you're trying to force your belief upon me. I don't want to go church 4 days a week. That's you. Leave me alone. I don't need to be told by you how bad.
You still rate them.
You still rate them. You still respect them. You still think go on about your journey and doing it, but stop pushing your journey into my journey path. And it will be the same for vegans. If you're one of those vegans that every time someone puts a burger in their mouth, you're like, oh, that used to be an animal. That was Fred once upon a time. How could you do that to Bambi? And if you're one of them, then yes.
Yeah,
you're going to get the backlash because
you're a bit of an extremist then, isn't it?
You're an extremist and you'll get them in any group. Do you know what I mean? Regardless of what their belief is, you will get extremists in any group.
I think maybe with people who are vegan or plant-based, like the minute when it comes to vegan, do you think it's treated the same? He's a vegan. People are really... angry about it. You know what I mean? People do get angry about it.
Do
You
get
know what I
angry
mean?
about it.
People get
People
really
are in their
offended at
But I think that's because we're in that day and age.
your choices of what you eat.
Your choices of what you eat, who you sleep with, where you go to party, who your friend is. We're a day and age now where people are in their feelings. Whereas I'm a firm believer of feelings don't exist. How I feel today is not going to affect you and your life in any shape or form.
That's right.
Realistically, it shouldn't affect my life. I might feel a certain way, but I've still got to get up and go to work and do this and do that and do the next. So my feelings have no impact on I say no impact. It has an impact on me personally, and I might be feeling, but my feelings can't stop me from what I need to do on an everyday basis. Because if I let that happen, then most things wouldn't get done. So I think when people get so passionate, it's my favorite word, when people get so passionate, whether it's for the pro or the con about anything, it's your feelings, your opinion. We all know what they're like and everyone's got one. Mm-hmm. But I think nowadays people need to kind of step back in their feelings and be mindful. Yeah. That's right. You feel like that today. You might be frustrated or whatever else. But I think when people have such a very strong opinion and a negative opinion about anyone, that's thinking, why? How is that affecting you?
I think
unless you're hungry, and
like,
you have to live with someone who doesn't want to eat meat.
If you was out in a restaurant with a group of people, and for example, I don't know, and what your current status is, but like and everyone's ordered their dish, and for example, the dish was lamb this and some broccoli and some potatoes and this and that, and you kind of went to the side and said to the waiter, can I have no veg on mine? Just want that. I don't want no carrots. I don't want no onions. Blah blah blah. It's fine. Whereas somebody else at the table said, "Yeah, I want that, but can you do it plant without? Have you got the alternative? Have you got vegan cheese or something out of pizza instead?"
Yeah,
which they will have most of the places. There is going to be a bigger issue, like with the people on the table. Why don't you eat cheese? And it becomes a big conversation at the table. Whereas you said that you don't want veg, or you just want the meat. It's not a problem. Nobody don't see nothing wrong with it. So what I was saying earlier on a couple of minutes ago about like, do you think that it's an equal stigma with like, are people being treated equally when they don't like veg or you don't like meat? I don't think it is. I think it's a big deal. I think people get offended when you say you don't want meat, but if you said that you didn't want onions or you didn't want broccoli and you don't want no veg, you just want meat and gravy, it's not a problem. Because
one's been around longer than the other. As much as we said earlier that, Ital was the original, vegans have always been around, vegetarians have always been around, but you weren't highlighted. Those people in those categories have rarely been highlighted unless it was
they were just humble in the background and cool.
Humble in the background. Linda was your advocate. Linda McCartney was your advocate, and she died in what year?
So 1998 was it?
I think it was 1998.
We saw that. Yeah.
So yeah, look, go to the bottom. Yeah, 1998. So Linda McCartney died in 1998, and her time kind of introduced the vegetarians around, because even then it still wasn't vegans, it was vegetarians.
Yeah, that's right.
So for as long
that was a big thing, because it
was a huge
to get
thing.
A vegetarian sausage back then.
And it wasn't always available. It wasn't like it was available in all supermarkets either. It was only in, I think it was like Tesco's, because Tesco's not Tesco's, I think Tesco's was the big one at the time, or it might have been Sainsbury's, like going way back into town. But like, that again, to buy her branded food was very limited. You could not go in every shop and find that. So as much as the people have always existed, your spotlight hasn't always existed. That has literally only happened in the last 5 years. To the point of where when you so me, I've got to say I've got a gluten intolerance. Whenever I go to a restaurant, I have never felt so special in all my life.
Yeah. So
because
yeah.
you don't get served by the waiters or the waitresses. You get served by the manager. The manager has to come and take your order. And then every 5 minutes, you got about 2 or 3 people saying, you know, are you sure you want this? We're going to bring you out food out. My food came out first. My food got taken away first, like where they don't want to cross-contaminate anything.
That's like on the plane. So if you ordered a vegetarian or
gluten,
or
your
gluten
food comes out first.
Your food will come out first. But that's more with if you're in a professional setting, that happens. But also, not like you said, not all places are like this.
Not all places are like it, but
big
they're
chains,
having
big
to
brands
take...
who cannot afford to take any risk. If you're more of an independent,
I don't know.
I think a lot of independents do. It's like, you know, like it's to what level, how serious you are, and I'm not saying how serious you are.
Because if you think about milk allergies, now we're talking allergies, not a belief. We're talking actual allergies.
So
a milk allergy has been around from. I remember being in school and having loads of people that had a milk allergy. They were allergic to milk. Yet you can still go into a lot of places and say, oh, okay, if they serve milkshakes, oh, do you do milk alternative? Oh, no, sorry, we don't. Pardon?
Yeah.
Now, for as long as milk allergens, I mean, again, this isn't a belief. It is, if they drink milk, they will have a severe reaction to it. And a lot of places still, I mean, I say a lot of places, there's still quite a few places that do not do milk alternatives to like milkshake.
Oh yeah, I got a coffee 2 days ago. I drove through that new drive-through Greg's.
Yeah.
And I was on the road and I got a coffee and I just wanted a black coffee. I needed to wake up. I was tired.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, do you have any milk alternative? Because like I said, I don't drink milk. And they said no. I thought at least they would have soya, even though I don't drink soya milk. They would have soya, and I would have, you know, if it's a rare circumstance, and you know, I'd take the soya, but I probably have it black anyhow. But they never had, and this is Greg's, which is Greg's is
brand, like it's
Greg's is doing well on the stock exchange, you know, like this is a big brand. Greg's is popping up everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, for the fact that the Greg's has popped up down Bath Road is just like, how, why, where is
Greg's
the
is
footfall?
In the petrol stations everywhere. You go in petrol stations and you think it's a toilet and you go around the corner, there's a Greg's.
Yeah, that's very true.
Tucked away, yeah.
But you know, these are the levels now. People are taking veganism. Is that a word? Veganism?
I guess
very, very seriously, along up there with allergens. Now, when you go in a restaurant, like I said, like you're either classed as a very VIP guest or
some restaurants.
I
think more old school. I mean, takeaway shops. You know,
I would say it's more the takeaway shops.
It's different because
they
just
fast. Stick a little sign up to say, you know, this contains blah 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 blah. Which
that's fine. That's a disclaimer.
That's fine.
So it's for you to choose now whether you want to eat from them,
but when
which is fine. That's good.
When you go into, I wouldn't even say top notch. Like I'm not talking about 5-star restaurants, but you know, just out now, like equivalent to a Calico or, you know, a bistro type place. Mm-hmm. Those places will take your allergens.
Even Nando's.
Very, very, Nando's has a
Nando's
Bible.
Is a chicken shop, but they do plant-based and vegetarian food.
They do plant-based and they're very particular.
Yeah.
And if you declare manager comes out, and not only does she come out with a Bible.
Yeah.
A food intolerance Bible. I've never seen anything.
They'll clean the grill.
Yeah.
And they'll make sure that your veggie strips or whatever it is you're having is cooked separate, or they got a separate grill for that. But like you said, a lot of places don't. They're just, this is a thing about the cross-contamination and stuff like that. A lot of places you would declare it, but because they're not clued up about it or don't take the allergy as serious as they should do, which I think everywhere should.
Well,
they would put on the same grill what does cooked a pork chop.
Yeah.
Or they would put on the same grill what does cooked, you know, halloumi or cheese or something like that.
They've only started to take it really, really serious since that girl died. Is it Costa?
I never heard about it. So I probably did, but it's not on the top of my radar at the moment. That must have been a while ago.
So a girl, I think it was like a nut allergy she had.
Yes, I did hear about it. I did hear about it.
And they
would have said about a couple of years ago, maybe.
I would, less than 5.
Yeah,
I would like to say, but then time is flying so far. But I would like to say less than 5 years ago, and obviously they got ridiculed. They got thrown through because it was something so preventable. If you had just said this, and I think she asked, that was the worst things about it, is she actually did speak to a member of staff, and they obviously told her, yeah, it's fine, whatever. She ate it, and then
this is what I'm saying about the seriousness. If you're working in whatever industry you're working in, we're not just putting this down to food and that, because I was in Spain last year, and somebody bought a drink to me, and it should have been, and they know that I've ordered from there already, and they know that I don't have milk. And the guy came over and he bought the next one. I was looking at it, I thought, that looks a bit milky. You know, they got the blender, they put the coconut in it, they put the fruits in it, they blend it up, and you know, you could have a smoothie type thing without milk, but it can still look frothy if you put like you know, banana and these things in it, the color of it will change. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking to myself, this thing looks a bit milky, you know. Looking. And I thought to myself, no, they know. And I took one sip on this and I thought, something ain't right with a straw. And I goes, is there milk in it? And he goes, yes. Do you know how livid I was? That I felt poisoned because there's been no milk what I've been aware of in my system for years.
yeah.
And I've just took a sip in a straw. So that's a good half mouthful or whatever with milk. I felt, you know, it never killed me, but I just never felt good. I never felt good at all. And
But this is it. It's like you'll have some places that will take it very, very seriously. I mean,
I couldn't even, you know, what could I have done? If that was in the UK and it was Costa or somewhere, I could have sent an email and they sent me a few $100 or whatever, or bribed me off with a voucher or whatever. Over there, it was a pointless.
but you say pointless. Is veganism as popular anywhere else in the world as it has become in Europe and in America?
I wouldn't even say Europe, because there's certain places in Europe where I wouldn't even say certain places in Europe. I think anywhere you go in the world, there's. I think if you're in the towns, the cities, and you're going to a independent or a chain, they're gonna have vegan stuff on the menu.
Right, but if you're going independent, if you're going anywhere in the world and you're going to a food chain, they all have to adhere by the same kind of rules, whether you're a franchise or whether you're actually part of the chain. What I'm talking about is you go in Spain now, and you've gone in rural Spain. You're in with the locals.
Independent.
Everyone is.
I mean, a lot of places out there in Spain, they have got it, like you said, they got it on the menu. What contains dairy, what contains what contains nuts, what contains fish, what contains So on the same, you could say on the same road, there's 20 restaurants what say it, and there's 20 what don't. It's like I said, it's down to the professionalism of you as the owner of that restaurant. If you think it's important, if you are selling food and you don't think that's important, well, maybe you need to. You need to fix up. Because just for the reason, I mean, like I said, I could drink it. It's not going to kill me, but I have an allergy for it. It would make me feel sick.
Yeah.
And I will throw up. I could smell it. Usually I could smell it, you know?
But when you talk about these independent restaurants, because we talk about us having ITIL, right? Caribbeans have an ITIL. For those that don't know, what is ITIL food? What type of food is that? Because my belief of ITIL food is like the yam, the breadfruit, like ground food.
ITIL food is a plant-based diet, basically, which was, this is what Rasta men, Rasta women ate back in the days. They just ate food which is from the ground. No, we're talking foods without preservative. We're not talking, it's not vegan, it's not plant-based, it's ITIL. This is the real raw foods.
But ITIL,
cabbage.
right. So you have the food side of things, but then even if you go as far as with some
You like ITIL
people
lifestyle.
that eat ITIL that will have no salt, no sugar, no oils, would you not say that's taking it? That would be like in today's class, like extreme veganism.
But I think with Rastas is also a movement. That's like a spiritual, religious movement. So it's just comes with it. Just like with Hinduism, a lot of Indian people, they don't eat meat. A lot of, even in India, you got different you know, you got Sikh, you got Hindu, you got different
religions within.
religions, and some of them wouldn't eat cow. And then, you know, stuff like that. So I think with the idol and being the idol was, you know, come from the Rasta.
But understanding that with idol, it's not meat. So we're looking at it as like, you know, no harm then should come to any of God's animals, and any animal that participates and helps create this earth shall be harmed in order to feed our bellies. But why would you cut out oil? Why would you cut out salt? Why would you cut out sugar?
I'm not sure about the oil thing. Is that a thing with which one doesn't do the oil?
So is it like part of the idol food movement and stuff? So avoiding. So I think they avoid kind of like animal products, like processed food, and they'll do things like additives, oil, salt, sugar. Because that's all processed food.
I think more. Yeah, I think with I think with the.
I would say salt is natural.
I mean, I don't know what the reason is behind the salt. The no salt, you know, a lot of people do. I mean, salt to an extent is good for the body. The body does need salt.
It is, and that's a new thing that
the body needs salt.
It does, but it's the right type of salt.
I don't use
table salt is bad.
I haven't used table salt for like 15 odd years.
I use table. See, I still have table salt, not to eat. I don't eat with it, but I use it still to clean my meat.
Okay.
Only because I think the other salts are so expensive that. And the amount you use in order to kind of clean off your meat and stuff like that is, you're not really on. No one's that rich. They're going to be using Himalayan or Celtic salt type thing. But I will still use. I've stopped cooking with table salt or using table salt on chips and stuff like that. Now I have Himalayan salt, and I'm trying my best. And I need to do better at finding Celtic salt, because apparently Celtic salt is high in magnesium, which is good for you, and that is the best salt to use. But yeah, table salt. Terrible, awful stuff. I just use it to clean my meat.
If you get a kilo of it for like 29p or 45p, you know it's not good. I mean, salt, the abundance of salt in this world, I don't think Himalayan salt and those kind of salt should be expensive anyhow. The amount of salt that there is on
this earth,
You see, have you seen the videos how they just mine it? There's blocks of it the size of this room, and they just chop it up, and then you're thinking you're buying a little container for a couple of quid
compared to the size of what they're thinking. But,
and even
So I don't know what it is. It's like the Himalayan salt, the pink Himalayan salt was supposed to be the good salt for you to use, but I don't know. I still need to do more research on that, because they're saying that obviously the production of it has been taken over by certain individuals, and they've altered how then they've processed it, so it's not actually as healthy for you as it used to be.
I've heard the pink Himalayan isn't the one, the good one, but I mean it's acceptable. It's
acceptable, and it's better than table.
Better than table salt.
The one that apparently you should get, and we should cook and eat with, and to keep our cholesterol down. Is it cholesterol down? There's either cholesterol down or our magnesium up, because our bones are made of magnesium. Is Celtic salt. Apparently we're supposed to take one little grain of Celtic salt, put it under our tongue, let it dissolve, glass of water, and that's supposed to put the magnesium back in our body. And I need to start looking into that. But it's amazing how when you do go to the shops, you see table salt. You'll even see Himalayan salt.
You see it all, but you're picking up the cheaper stuff.
But you can't find the Celtic salt. It's just
very
not
hard to find.
Very hard to find.
It is very hard to
find. They say, go to like the health shops and stuff to get it. But then even then, I'm a bit skeptical, because now we know that the health shops also like to not have as much quantity of the good stuff in their products as they should do.
I mean, until it becomes trending product, then things like exactly what you said. Things like this mushroom, lion's mane mushroom. The actual mushroom yourself. Can you buy that? Where can you buy? You have to buy a grow kit to grow it yourself.
Yeah.
And then after 3 or 6 months, you grow your own mushroom, and you could make it into a
powder.
But you could buy that now. You could buy that anywhere now. Lion's mane.
But how do you guarantee you're getting what the
good
stuff?
You could buy it in a home sense, TK Maxx. You could buy it in Tesco's, Holland & Barrett, all these places. They sell it now. Yeah, everywhere it's like these this mushroom stuff is shroom powders. Blended Reiki mushroom. Am I pronouncing it right? Reiki mushrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a trending thing, but like you said, lion's mane. A year ago or 2 years ago,
never heard of it.
You could never. You're not hearing it.
All
You're
the
not
health
finding
benefits
it,
of
but
it.
You're seeing it everywhere now.
Everywhere, which is good. It is. I think the more we educate ourselves around our food and our health and kind of like what we're someone gave me a really good saying, is like our bodies are a temple, and something about putting what we should be noting what we put inside it and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where we should be educating ourselves more about what we're eating, our lifestyles, our health. Because again, I think we can go still on topic, because it's all about health and stuff like that.
Yep.
And but like health checks. Like, I'm in my 40s. I say I'm in my 40s. I am 40. I'm not in my 40s. I am 40. But I would like a full health check, but it's not something that your doctor offers you. Why?
You have to go private now, isn't it?
You have to go private. But I think once you if I'm lucky enough to live to 80, I'm already half my life done. So if half of your life is already done, that is when you would think the health professionals, and this is where we have to take more note in our own health, because obviously those that we used to rely on to do it for us are no longer doing that. I feel like once you hit 40, male or female, that is when you go in for all your health checks. Yeah. Your boobs done, your ball sack's done, you know, your prostate, your everything. Because realistically, if you have a certain condition in the family that's hereditary, surely catching that as early as possible is what is going to change that dynamics for your family's lineage. Mm-hmm. So why do they not offer full body workups? Because I think in America they do, where you have everything, your blood's done, your cholesterol, your gut health, your mental health, like, you know, all of that thing. All of that sort of stuff should be offered to you as soon as you hit 40. 40th birthday, bam. Same way they want to catch you down quick for a smear test, they should catch you down quick. Once you turn 40, get in here, get a full body workup. Because if at 40, someone who ate meat their whole entire life, drank whatever, and they've now got high cholesterol, you know, high blood pressure, what else is prone to people these days? Like, if you've got all of that, at 40, if you caught that literally a few months after your 40th birthday and you changed your lifestyle, I reckon by the time you're 50, you're good. You might even extend your life to maybe live to 90 now rather than the 80. So why would they not want to catch that at a pinnacle point of our lives? Well, and that's when they should be offering us food hygiene, health, food nutrition, food health. I mean, teach us about being vegan.
It just goes to say, because it's all, you know, everything's about profit nowadays. And as much as we might not want to bring this topic up, and, you know, doctors are paid to push medicine. So when you for example, you've got diabetes, or well, maybe not. Let's say something where you have to take a medication for a tablet form. Yeah. And you've had this for like 5-10 years, and you've been given this medication. Tom Bloggs along down the road, PLC has just developed a new drug for it, and he wants to test it out. So he comes to see you, your doctor friend, and asks you to push this on your patients, because you're basically, the doctors are using the new stuff as clinical trials, you know?
Yeah.
And we're taking the medication, so you're complaining to your doctor saying, I'm still getting the headaches, or I'm still getting this, and try this one, and they're getting the money because they're buying these from the manufacturers,
pharmaceuticals companies.
They're either giving it to them and they're getting the cut, or they're buying them and they're selling it back. So most doctors have got a business within a business, and
they do little side hustle.
So they're buying the drugs and they're selling it back to the NHS or wherever it works. So, you know, there's, and that's truth.
That is absolute truth, because I saw something recently about cancer, about how when you go in with cancer, even if they catch it stage 1, stage 2, very early, treatable, everything, that they will offer chemotherapy, radiation, and all of that first, when realistically, there are diets you could do. There are food you can intake that would reverse cancer, because cancer cells, your body made the cells so your body can, you know, reverse those cells as well with the right nutrients and the right help and support. And it's amazing. So you're 100% right. Doctors are in the business of investment, and the investment is not us. And I'm so sorry if you're a doctor out here and you generally want to be out here and helping people and everything else. And as much as that might be your intention, realistically, the moment I would challenge any doctor. And when I say any doctor, GP, I mean an actual GP. For, let's say, 6 months period, yeah, any patient you have that has an ailment, yeah, internal, external, let's just do a test.
I know what you're going to say, but go on.
So my challenge to you as a doctor would be, don't prescribe a pill. Because, before medicines,
They'll probably get fired.
They would get fired within it, but that's what I mean. That's my point. You as a doctor who, even though your intentions were purely to help people, that's why you went and did 15, 60 years of medical training, is so that you could become this doctor, so that you can help all the patients that you see in front of you. If that was your intention, however, once you get into this profession, that's no longer that's not the intention they want for you. So as a doctor, I challenge you, even if the boards or whoever is above you don't know, just take 6 months, and every patient that you get that comes with a form of health element that as a medical professional can be reversed with diet and exercise. See if by treating that is, because apparently doctors can prescribe gym memberships.
Yeah,
free.
Yeah.
They can prescribe gym, because prescription, we're under the belief that prescription is medicine. It's not.
No.
It is whatever will take to make you get better.
That's right.
So if it was diet and gym membership and nutrition and exercise, a doctor can actually prescribe that
definitely.
for you.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Whether it be your mental health, whether it be your bad knees or I've got bad knees, I've got arthritis in knees, and it's a case of I don't want to go on medicines. I don't want to be crippled at 40, so I'm trying to walk. I'm trying to go to the gym and do high incline on treadmills and do high knees and stuff like that, because when I do that, it feels so much better than when I don't. And I now notice when I don't go to the gym for a period of time how my knees start to ache.
Yeah.
So it's a case of there is always going to be a natural remedy, herbal remedy, an earthial remedy to whatever ailment there is.
Yeah, I mean, with the doctors, I think I don't do you wrong. I can't say you wrong a doctor. If a doctor is set out to be a doctor, he's doing the doctor thing. He's getting paid. He works for, maybe he's a private doctor, or if he's a NHS doctor, for example, he's got his salary. He's getting paid. Now, how can I say, you're prescribing medicines which aren't yours. Do you wrong them for buying in these medicines and selling them, having it as this, setting up a business? Most doctors specialize in a certain thing, and they all have a certain.
That would be in a hospital, but if you're talking GP, the GP that we all make the doctor's appointments to go see and sit down and all of that. Let me say it in another, say using your same analogy, but let me see if I can put it in a different way. So you're a DJ, yeah? You DJ in the top nightclubs. You're in Mayfair, yeah? You're number 5. All the celebrities go in there. They pay you well, right? Now I'm an artist, and I come and say to you, you're on set for 4 hours. In those 4 hours, every time you play my song, I'm going to give you £1,000.
You're gonna play the song.
You're going to play my song enough, right? You're
You're
going to promote.
You're playing the song whether it's good or bad.
You're playing the song. My song is awful. Yeah, people hate it.
That's
But
how it's always
I've gone
been.
to you as the DJ of this top-notch,
It's always been
nightclub,
like that, yeah.
and I said, I'm going to pay you £1,000 every time you play my song tonight.
But that's a reality. What's always
But
happened
that's the
from the
reality.
60s with
So-
radio. It's been everywhere, worldwide. But it's whether the principles, because if somebody is actually coming to you with a terrible song, some people have got to, I'm not playing that. It's a load of, and it's gonna put my thing down.
Are you gonna?
But some people, the majority, a lot of, on the other hand, a lot of people are gonna play it. They're just gonna do it for the money. So if we're looking back into the GP scenario,
but that's what I'm trying to class it as. Is like
Yeah.
with the GPs, they're incentivized
yeah, of
to
course.
sell the medical stuff rather than what is actually
But
going to
there
work and
are
help
a lot
you.
of doctors who still got their morals, because I mean,
Oh,
look,
yes,
a few
some.
years ago there was a doctor who injected all, I think it was the younger kids, with a imaginary. There was
Like a
nothing in
placebo.
basic. Yeah, there's nothing in it. It was just probably water or whatever, they saline
Saline
whatever.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to him, but he probably got fired or whatever. But he injected thousands of people with nothing because he knew that they didn't need whatever it was, and these people were fine. But they all in their mind they thought, yeah, I've had. So
I mean, it's true. It's true.
some people have morals, and
Some people will have morals, and there'll be some that are in it for actual, like I said, the love of the job. Their intentions is to help people. Their intentions is to do good. But realistically, you're an employee. Even if you work for yourself, you're an employee, because there's always going to be a board or an organization that's above you that can dictate to you whether you're going to eat or not. Are you going to have your job today? Are you going to sell this pill for me? No? All right, then you ain't got no job.
And
They're
that's the
always
thing.
going to, and that's the thing. So as much as your intentions are going to be to help people, if you see 10 people today and you have a quota of 11, right? And you're a good person, you might still have to quote at least 3 or 4 of those people just to keep the powers that be off your back. So no, you've not given it to the 11 people you were supposed to for the day. You might have only given it to 3 or 4, but you're still giving it unnecessarily.
they've been backed
or
into
not.
a corner.
They're back to everyone's
I
paid.
suppose if they're private and they're
Private's probably worse.
either way you look at it, if they're not private and their wages isn't what they, the stress of their job and the wages doesn't tally up, then I get the side hustle and everything, because people are trying to survive, but it's not good. But shit happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are private, if you're fortunate enough to be private and got your own practice and you're charging them big monies and you're still doing jobs for the NHS sector, you're private and then
Which
you're,
some
you're,
do.
you're
They
in a
do
good
do that.
position anyhow, because if you're in a position to be getting the big money and still have your side hustle, you're good either way.
Yeah, you're good.
So now, no matter how you look at it, it's happening in private and
Happens anywhere, and this is going back to why nowadays we have to educate ourselves. We have to educate ourselves across everything, because I think nowadays it is being blatantly highlighted when we've been fed bullshit. So now what we're having to do as adults is actually clue up us, even down to your human rights. You should know what your human rights are, because whether it be police, whether it be company organizations, when people say to you like, oh, debt collectors knock on your door or send you a letter and say, oh, if you don't pay me now, we're going to knock on the door and we're going to take, they actually can't do that. As long as you don't, it's threats.
it's threats.
But if you don't know
a lot
that,
of people get paranoid and they will fold and they will just,
gotta
pay
think
off
there's
something
people
that
that
you don't
would-
necessarily have to pay off. Or
people
pay
will
off
put
as yet
themselves,
in
they
debt.
would not even put themselves in debt. You can put yourself in debt, that's fine, and everything else. And there are actual real life organizations that will help you get out of that debt with your interest at heart. And then you have the debt collectors who will buy your debt. So
Oh yes,
say I owed T-Mobile £14,000.
they'll buy
I
that debt
don't
for
buy
like
that.
about 200 quid. if
200
that.
quid. And then not only would they buy that debt for like £200, that 14,000 has now become 28,000, because now they've put their interest and their whatever on it. And they may say to me, to help you, we'll knock it down to 20,000. Whereas realistically, I don't owe you that debt.
But think about it. The original companies already wrote it off, knowing that they're not getting it, and they've said, right, that's
And
it. But
do you know you no longer owe that debt?
Yeah, some fly by the night said, all right, well, we'll buy it off you for £200. We'll pursue it.
We'll pursue it. We will. But the thing is the
How's that
company.
even allowed?
But because it's a business, like we said, there's a business in everything. But it's important to know. It's important to educate yourself on all of these sort of things, whether it be your health, your well-being, your finances, your right. Like it's all important to kind of educate yourself, because what we now know is the higher institutes is not for us. They're here to take our money. That's it. They're not here to make us live long. They don't want us to live longer than what we already are, because that's money to
At the
them.
end of the day, I think
If we
everybody's up in their feeling a certain way, but the reality is people live and people die.
Oh, the only thing guaranteed in life is death.
So when it comes to, you know, things like this, people making any form of business, whatever it is, we're not talking food there, we're not talking the health industry, just any sort of business, people can make money, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money, and whatever their agenda is for life, that's it. At the end of the day, but do people really care about you?
Society would be a different question in that. Whereas, and I think it goes in hand, whereas I think before we all used to look out for each other as a community, that community
is fading.
It's fading. And when I say fading, I say community is not like black community and this community over here or anything like that. I'm talking about where we actually looked out for one another, you know? Whereas now, if you saw a kid getting picked on or bullied in a park, the amount of people that would walk past because they don't want to be involved, or, you know, they don't want to be accused of anything or anything. It's like, what?
Everything's weighed up now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all weighed up. You know?
It is. It's all, yeah. I think once we have that kind of thing back and through education, those sort of things can kind of happen again. And, you know, let's hope it happens in our lifetime. The educational process gets better. We need to, and hopefully it'll be things like this. And, you know, you let us know. Let us know if you learn from, you know, the things we talk about on here, or, you know, if there's something you want to kind of delve in more or want to hear more of a topic on, that we can actually focus on that, and kind of explore with you guys as our viewers, as well as us in the studio. Like, these are the sort of things. So maybe we can help educate in those kind of ways, because there's a lot out there that we don't know. And it was going back to how we first started it. Like, when I saw this, I thought this was amazing. Like, the
title alone, How to Vegan.
Not how to be a vegan.
Let's see the state circles. Alternative lifestyle. Vaping, man. Does vaping come into it? Activists. So it's like saying certain, if you're within that circle, you could be a preachy vegan who's like the one who's throwing the views at everyone, and you're more likely the activist. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I'm going to have to read that.
Even just now, looking at the back of the book while I was holding it up, it literally says, who is this book for? It's for vegans, people who want to know about vegans, vegetarians who dabble in the dark arts of soya milk, meat reducers, and full carnivores looking to take the piss out of vegans.
Oh, it's for everyone.
What isn't in this book? Arguments for or against veganism. It's obvious that you should be a vegan, and here's how to do it. So it's actually, but again, it's knowledge.
Who's the author?
I like how they said how to vegan rather than how to be a vegan.
Stephen Wildish.
Well,
big up yourself wherever you are. I will be reading that at some point, hopefully.
So if you're in this centre bit here, vegan, like, obviously you've got it. Because this is where you want to be, where you're in all three circles. So if
you'll be if you're in the centre, then you say
you're
got a bit of vaping there and a bit of
this.
Okay, a bit of alternative lifestyle, a bit healthy, all right. So
that's what they say. You're a bit preachy, you're a bit alternative, and you're a bit healthy. You're a lovely balance of all three.
Makes sense. Yeah. Good book. It's a good book. It's a good book, and it's a good look.
I would love to say I recommend it to anyone. I would have to have more of an in-depth read, and let you guys know how it turns out. But yeah, just saw it. Literally caught my eye, or anything like that. There are a lot of vegans. We got a lot of vegan subscribers. Maybe we'd like to hear from you. How vegan? Were you a meat eater and now you've become a vegan? A full-fledged vegan, or are you vegetarian?
Have you ever dabbled in veganism?
Veganism for me? No. I reckon I could become vegan, but I think I would need a personal chef, because I would want fresh food. I would want the burgers from mushrooms. I would want the watermelon chicken. I would want all of that.
Watermelon chicken?
Yeah. I'd want apparently if you grill it up and base it with this, that, and the next, it can.
Wow.
Do you know? I would want to try it because I tell you what, there is a dish, cauliflower bites or something. It's in Calico, and it's these cauliflower bites with some sort of sauce and spices on it. But my gosh, it tastes good. It tastes so good. So if that is the level of veganism, then it's one of those ones where, yeah, I could do it. If I had a chef that could cook like that, because I can't do that. I wouldn't even have the first clue.
All right. Well, let's entertain some questions on that. And I know we've got the group going on Facebook.
Let us know. Like
please
I'm
get involved.
interested. It is something as I'm getting older, I think now is the time to combat I don't have any health issues, obviously, other than becoming like wheat gluten intolerant. But I would really love to hear from the vegans. I have experienced a vegan and I must say it was delicious.
Okay.
So, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Vegetarian, vegans, come to
Well,
us.
Put a post in the group. And also, like, whilst we're on that topic, we're trying to reach 300 subscribers on YouTube. So, as the saying goes,
Like, share, subscribe.
you've heard it from Be True Paris once again. And we'll see you next week. We're randomly speaking with Rudie Rich, the random podcast show with
Be True Paris.
also Asherpreneur, who will be back on the next episode. And myself, Rudie Rich.
Have a good weekend. Followers!